Hello everyone, my name is Li Kunyi and I am the group leader from this presentation. Thank you for watching our video. Today our group will presentations on the pedagogy theory of the protest in the music education. Our presentation divides into several parts and each member have the focus a different part of the presentation. I will begin with the Eldon Golden music learning theory, specifically the learning sequence and the concepts to the real classroom protect. After my section, the presentation will continue the contributes from the risks of my group member. She will discuss constructive reason and applications in the music education. Wu Peijing, who will introduce utilitarianism and evaluate and its role in the music classroom. Lin Jiayu, who will expand behaviorism and is the same phase in the developing the musical skills. And finally, Guo Yufei, who will present it to the critical and the pedagogy and recognized in the prior presentation. We hope this presentation will provide a clear of the mentioned overview of the pedagogy theory and how they can influence the music teaching in the different concepts. Now I will begin with my past golden learning sequence music in the music. Hello everyone, my name is Li Kunyi and this part is our presentation. I will focus in the Eldon Golden Music Learning Theory with the practical and the emphasis on the learning sequence and the practical and the application in the real classroom teaching. My presentation will be alright into the major section and introduction to the golden and the function of the learning theory and debate explanation of the learning sequence, application of the learning sequence in my own teaching experience. My presentation represents on the info on the field. I end the session. I hope students know what the field is, but also why it's meaningful of the music teacher and the student, especially in the choral and the gold music contest. Eldon Golden and the president of the music learning theory. Eldon Golden was the American music research teacher and one of the music influencer and figure in the modern music education. The question was simple but powerful. How do people actually learn the music? Golden believed that music learning, like language learning, is thereby children not begin the speaking and the reading text. They begin with the listening. I admit in the immediate of the Paris and eventually and expand and simply golden agreed that music learning begin or the not exchange but with the audiation. What is the audiation? Audiation is the ability to hear complete and music instantly and even when the sound is presented a golden deep present audiation as the musical increase of the thinking in the language. For example, when a singer amplifies and the pitch before singing and is when a musical mentally and present a rhythm before the pressing is that the engaging audition without audition musical performance becomes music case and mixed and link understanding. Golden Retrieve focused on the audiation divide and the author can describe a learning support the development and learning theory of the NLT. The NLT is normations of the teaching piece is the firewall tool for understanding to how musical to singing growth. And the learning sequence music The crux of the music learning theory is the learning sequence without of the student agree and the musical understanding. The golden divide and this into the two major phases and the discriminate and learning and the infused learning. Together in the piece, the trade and how to student to move education and reversion and creation and finally to understanding the music theoretical. You say the learning. The learning answer question is the sense of the difference. Students learn, realize, and channel and refine the pattern of perfect from the limitation to understanding. There are 5 development levels in this page. Level 1, average and overall. And this presentation style, the student listening channel of different presentation in eliminate and they using the natures and separate and there is no notation and no lips and the theory only sound the reviews. Example, the teacher sing bull bump and the student limit and this the build listening skill and channel sentence answers and the base review the study. Level 2, the view attestation is at this stage and student adding meaning to the sound include and solve and with like the do mi so. Review the same the do do di and interpretation and major meaning. ID feeling to meet and tube and chip. Now students can able what they hear in the prompt and for example, instead and of the repeating and next some they might say do mi so. And level 3, present state and student begin to discussion and pretend they have the learning to prevent footage. For example, realizing to which part and belong a major tonality. Ident and whether the reason a match though to triple meter and this state of the risk and the organization and the organization. Level 4, symbol acceleration. Here, noting is now for the first time. Students now contact better the musical symbol with the present, then they are ready to know Australia and the wobbly. You like traditional teaching, golden ghost, and the notation should come after some understanding, not at the beginning. To organize and not no meaning to without musical meaning. Level 5. Compare the simple the student can read and write formally, patient and identically and tentatively and meter identically to contain the symbol and do the sound without teacher and proofing. And this stage where musical shape and become the identity. In the learn to learning answer and question, what can I do with the I know in the present student and move behind limits and begin curating, improving and applying the music theory. There are 3 levels. Level 1, relation, student identity to relationship between the firmer and the uniform the presentation. They can trust learning for one turn to the other. For example, realizing a new reference and presentation, and that is the top meter. Level 2, creating and improvement. Students create their own channel of the ribbon pretends event, improving shorter meter and plans, creating simple within the movie, reporting to the musical question with the answer. This is one of the most important stages in the musical development and often most in the traditional music teaching. Level 3, the theory understanding. Students apply music theory to what hear, pitch, and input and the key stand treat and creation and humor definition. In this of the mechanisms of theory rules, they understanding music in this out of the audiation. Apply in my teaching, expand in learning 关系。 I have two major teaching experience to the Corona. Nanning number 3 high school Qingshan Curbs and Nanning number 3 in middle school in the Xiangsihu Lake, the boy choral. In both cases, most students were not music major and have the limited musical and background. However, the Golden Learning Sequence provides highly effectively. How I use the declaration to learning. Step 1. Pattern lists. I begin with the simpleton and refer patterns of for the student limit. These help them extend the base pitch, attend, and review stability. Step 2. Use the piano correct pitch. When students have difficult match pitch, I play shorter instead of the broken chord of the limited D string their tenor center. Step 3. Editing meaning with the soft. After they could limit pretension, actually I include a self to help them understanding tenor, dominate, string, and reverse shape. This improves the musical mirror and identification. How I use the infer the learning impressions and student making before seeing the full choral piece. I ask the student to provide which pattern may apply, improves the shorter response and identify for the meter of the tenor of the new pattern. This might they attend musical thinker and not passive monitor. Preparing for the competition. The brave with the preparing the school level competition, I find that present based to teaching record shortening, increase pitch stability, improve the tenor quietly, and string expand unit. Student guide conflict based they understood to musical string they meaningful in the lead. Believing. Reformulation for the goals. They through teaching with the golden learning sequence, I made several results. Begin integrated and for orientation center teaching and even the student with not musical background. Develop pitch occurs in the musical conflicts. NLT research young musician from the teacher. The teacher must be comfortable with the tenor pattern and refine the pattern and the impression. Traditional note first teaching is the first influence student read the note without understanding song, leading to the medical to performance. NLT build identity the musical student to learn intent to technically to play musical profess and make musical decision. In the future, I was to string on my audition skill pattern level and conducting the technique so I guide student more effectively. This video does show I conducting the student. A golden learning sequence is often the powerful device to the focus to for the teaching music improves teaching the music in the student teaching music in mood student to teaching music to understanding to create identities. My teaching experience is not in comfort that's even not music major that even have go from the orientation to base intonation. Thank you for your listening. I'm looking for sharing more answer to your question in the Q&A session. So any question?
I have a question. Was there any challenges you faced when trying to introduce pattern-based learning to your students?
Good question. Pattern-based learning of the core challenges. So yes, I did focus several challenges when I first into pattern-based learning especially because most of the students were not music major and had limited musical background. The first challenge was the pitch correct or not. Match even the simple tone patterns, so I to repeat the pattern so slowly, break them into the similar into and use the piano consistently, and I help to relate to tonal center. The second challenge was the students were use traditional sing first learning. They want to jump this into the singing the whole piece, so I have to explain why we're pretending short tenor and reveal pattern first. After events their intonation improving, they become more willing to follow the sequence. After challenge was conducted because the beginning, so students were even when they couldn't sing parts correctly. So I was native simple code the refrain and the go limited to the real picture. Overall, although pro-based learning took more time at the beginning, it helps my students develop stronger audition, better internals, and a match strategy to and when preparing the competition. So the entire challenge without and the risk were participated. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Xi Anqi. Today, I will talk about how constructivist learning theory connects to modern music teaching, especially piano lessons. Constructivism says that learning is not just listening or taking in information. Instead, students build their own understanding through experiences, thinking, and exploring. In music classes, especially one-to-one piano lessons, this idea changes the way teachers teach and the way students learn. It also changes how students understand music. In this presentation, I will show how this theory can be used in real piano teaching and how it can help students grow in musical expression skills and artistic understanding. Students learn better when they talk and work with other people. When they share ideas with teachers or classmates, they are understanding things more clearly. Learning is also influenced by their culture and language because students understand the new ideas more easily when the teacher uses examples or words that feel familiar. Students also think better when they learn together. Working in pairs or small groups helps them solve problems, exchange ideas, and build their understanding step by step. These ideas are very useful in music classes because communication, culture, and teamwork all help students grow in their musical skills and expression. Vygotsky expanded constructivism by showing how learning is influenced by society and culture. He believed that our thinking grows through communication with others, such as teachers, classmates, family, and the musical environment around us. Learning is supported by language, conversations, and shared cultural experiences. In piano lessons, Talking about tone, musical pictures, phrasing, and artistic ideas becomes an important way of learning. Vygotsky reminds us that music learning does not happen alone. It is built together with people and shaped by culture. Now that we understand Vygotsky's basic ideas, we can look at one of his most important concepts, the zone of proximal development. This idea helps us use how learning actually happens in real teaching situations. On this slide, the first point means the space between what a student can do alone and what they can do with help. The second point reminds us students grow when teachers give support, examples, and step by step. And finally, means that tasks should be not too easy and not too hard. They should challenge the student but still feel possible, so the student can make real progress. In music education, this helps us choose the right pieces, the right exercises, and the right level of support so that students can grow confidently. Scaffolding means giving temporary help so students can reach a higher level of understanding and skill. In piano teaching, this help can include showing how to produce a good tone, demonstrating phrasing, simplifying difficult rhythms, giving step-by-step listening tasks. As the student becomes more confident, the teacher slowly reduces the support, allowing to make their own musical choices and solve problems independently. The goal is not for the student to depend on the teacher, but to develop a long-term artistic independence. Under a constructivism approach, the uh, uh, student and teacher, the teacher is not just someone who passes on musical knowledge. Instead, the teacher becomes a guide, a partner, and someone who learns together with the student. The teacher's job is to notice students' needs, find misunderstandings, create meaningful learning tasks, and encourage students to think about their learning. The student's teacher gives support and materials, but lets students explore, interpret, and make their own musical choices. The student-centered way of teaching helps learners take initiative, build confidence, and develop their own expressive style. A real example can show how constructivism works in piano learning. When a student studies Debussy's Clear Dynamite, they may have difficulty with tone color, voicing, and pedal culture. Instead of telling the students actually how to play. The teacher asks them to listen to different recordings, compare how each piano plays, and talk about the feelings they hear. Together, they imagine pictures of moonlight and water. The students try different touch tempos and pedal levels, discovering how movement affects tone color. With this guided explanation, the students build their own understanding in a natural and a personal way. On this page, during the lesson, several constructivist strategies are used. The students recall their own play and evaluate what is strong and what needs improvement, which build self-awareness. Discussions with the teacher support thinking and help the students explain musical ideas. Improvisation activities, such as making short atmospheric phrases, allow the student to feel Debussy's musical style more deeply. Instead of copying the teacher actually, and the students build their own interpretation. Learning becomes hands-on, thoughtful, and creative. The outcomes of this constructivist teaching approach are notable. The students gain better control of pendulum and dynamic balance, resulting in clear melodic voicing and more refined tone. Confidence increases as the students realize they can analyze, interpret, and solve musical challenges independently. In conclusion, constructivist teaching reminds us to give students more choice and control in their learning. When students have autonomy, they learn with more interest and confidence. It is also important to encourage students to think, reflect, and be creative, because this helps them grow as musicians and as learners. Finally, learning should be something we build together, not something the teacher simply gives to the student. Once teachers and students work as partners, learning becomes deeper, more meaningful, and more connected to real musical understanding. Here are all my references. Do you have any questions?
Yes, Angelina. I want to know that why is contribution important in music education?
Well, constructivism is important because music is not only about correct notes. It is about expression and personal understanding. This theory helps students think, explore, and find their own musical voice instead of only copying the teacher.
Teacher, I have a question too.
Oh, okay.
How do you know if constructivist Teaching is working in your piano lesson.
I know it's working when the student can make their own musical decisions, improve their tone and pendulum, and explain when they choose a certain interpretation. They become more independent and more confident, not just waiting for my instructions. That's all, thanks.
Hello everyone, I'm Wu Peijing. Today I talk about philosophy in music education, utilitarianism. So what is utilitarianism? On this slide, I would like to briefly introduce the concept of utilitarianism. Utilitarianism is an ethical philosophy that aims to maximize happiness or benefits for the greatest number of people. The idea originated with philosophers Jeremy Bentham and John Stuart Mill. They believed that an action is considered morally right if it brings the largest amount of positive outcomes for the majority. When we apply this concept to education, including music education, utilitarianism encourages us to evaluate teaching methods, curricular and learning outcomes based on how useful they are, how effective they are, and what measurable benefits they can bring to students and society. It is therefore a philosophy concerned with practicality, efficiency, and observed results. Now, moving on to the application of utilitarianism within music education. When we analyze music education from this viewpoint, we focus on the functional aspects of music learning. In other words, instead of simply appreciating music for artistic or emotional reasons, utilitarianism asks, what is the practical value of music education? What concrete benefits can it bring to students or society? For example, learning music can contribute to cognitive development, improve academic performance, and support long-term personal growth. It may help students develop discipline, teamwork, and coordination. Schools often find that music programs improve school culture and community engagement. So, from a utilitarian perspective, the justification for including music in the curriculum is not only because music is beautiful, but because it produces measurable, beneficial results. And we go on. On this slide, we look at the typical goals that arise when educators adopt a utilitarian approach to music learning. First, music education is expected to enhance measurable abilities. Research has shown that musical training helps strengthen memory, attention, and executive functioning. Group music making also encourages collaboration and communication among students. Second, utilitarianism supports the role of music in social adjustment. Choirs, orchestras, and ensemble activities teach students how to cooperate, listen to others, and work towards a common goal. Third, music activities can improve overall school performance. For instance, music events and competitions contribute to school reputation, school engagement, and cultural atmosphere. Finally, utilitarian thinking sees music as preparation for future social needs. Even if students do not become musicians, the soft skills they develop, creativity, perseverance, emotional intelligence, will support their development as future citizens. Although utilitarianism has its limitations, it also brings several meaningful advantages to music education. The first positive outcome is increased relevance. When music education demonstrates clear benefits, both parents and administrators are more willing to support it. Suddenly, music is no longer seen as an extra subject, but a valuable contributor to students' overall development. Second, utilitarianism can help schools and teachers secure more resources. When the benefits of music education are measurable, it becomes easier to justify funding, equipment purchase, and performance opportunities. Third, music can be used to support learning in mathematics, languages, and even emotional well-being. It becomes a tool that connects multiple learning domains. Overall, utilitarianism helps music education gain recognition in academic systems that increasingly rely on data assessment and evidence-based outcomes. Despite these advantages, utilitarianism also presents certain challenges that educators must carefully consider. If we care too much about the benefits we can measure, we might start treating music like a tool instead of an art. Students could end up learning music just for grades or to boost their thinking skills, not to learn to appreciate art. Another problem is the pressure to get results we can count. Teachers may feel they have to show quick, clear progress, which makes them focus too much on tests, competitions, or skill practice. A third issue is that creativity gets pushed aside. When classes are all about hitting specific goals, students don't get chances to experiment, make up their own music, or express themselves. Music might become mechanical, predictable, and all the same for everyone. So, while focusing on practical benefits can help music education be taken more seriously, it can also ruin its real artistic purpose if we stick to this idea too strictly. This slide highlights the need for balance that is crucial in modern music education. On one side, we acknowledge that music education does produce measurable social and cognitive benefits. These are valuable and they help music survive within school systems. But on the other side, we must remember that music is fundamentally an artistic and emotional experience. It is not only about skills or results, but also about expression, identity, and cultural meaning. To create balance, teachers can design lessons that include both learning objectives and open-ended creative activities. For example, while students may learn technique and theory, they should also have opportunities to experiment, interpret, and create their own music. In this way, music education survives both functional goals and artistic goals, ensuring that students receive a complete musical experience. From a teacher's point of view, focusing on practical benefits, what weekend utilitarianism gives inspiration but also comes with responsibilities. Teachers should definitely acknowledge the real-world payoff of music education. But they can't just teach music only for those practical gains. Instead, teachers need to have students see music as a multi-phased subject. It doesn't just build skills, but also supports emotional health, personal growth, and understanding of different cultures. This means teachers become balanced guides. They lead students toward meaningful results, but also keep music education's artistic value intact. They help students appreciate music as something that makes life richer, not just something that gives measurable benefits. This well-rounded way of teaching can keep students motivated, confident, and emotionally tied to music. Okay, to conclude, utilitarianism offers a valuable framework for evaluating music education. It encourages us to consider the practical benefits of learning music and helps advocate for the importance of arts education within competitive academic environments. However, utilitarianism must be applied practically. If it becomes the only lens through which we view music education, we risk reducing musical learning to mere numbers and metrics. The most effective approach is one that honors both worlds, the usefulness of music and the artistry of music. Only through the balance can we ensure that music education continues to nurture students academically, socially, emotionally, and creatively. Okay, that's all. Thank you very much. And do you have any other questions?
Hello, teacher. I have a question. If we focus too much on the measurable benefits of utilitarianism in music education, will music classes only care about skills and grades, and make students lose interest and love for music itself?
You've asked a really key question. Actually, when we talk about the value of utilitarianism in music education, our main goal is to help music keep its place in the education system that values data and results, and to get more support and resources for it, not to give up music's artistic side. As we mentioned earlier about the balance principle, a good music class will combine the development of measurable abilities, like teamwork and memory, with artistic experience. For example, while practicing playing skills, we can guide students to feel the emotions in the melody. While preparing for competitions, let everyone enjoy the harmony and the joy of playing together. This way, we can show the practical value of music education and keep its artistic core, so that learning doesn't become a cold task. Okay, that's all. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, I'm Ning Jiayu. Today I want to talk about behaviorism. I will talk about the three things. Number one, what behaviorism is. Number two, the main ideas and the important people. Number three, how we use behaviorism in music class. At the end, I will give a short summary. Okay, first, what is behaviorism? Behaviorism is a learning idea in psychology. It says that learning is something we can see. So we look at what students do, not what they think inside. Behaviorism says our actions come from the environment. We learn through rewards and practice. In simple words, behaviorism cares about actions. If actions change, learning happens. We should check what the student does if the action changes, if we can see and train this change. Next, the main ideas. Here are the big ideas of behaviorism. Number one, environment changes behavior. Number two, reward. Number three, punishment. Number four, repeat practice. Number five, look at actions. Number six, learning action change. Okay, number one, environment changes behavior. If we change the place or rules, students act differently. Number two, reward. If a student does something right, we say good job, give a star, or give points. This makes the good action happen again. Number three, punishment. If the action is wrong, we give a warning or take away points. This makes the wrong action happen less. Number four, repeat practice. Do it again and again. Practice makes the action strong. Number five, looking at actions. Learning must be something we can see. Number six, learning action change. If the student acts better than before, it means they learned. Next, important people. Two important people are John B. Watson and B.F. Skinner. John B. Watson, he is the father of behaviorism. He said learning is C.T. Miller's response. If teachers change the environment, they can shape the students' actions. B.F. Skinner, he talked about operant learning. He said good actions happen more when we use the rewards. Example, if a child plays the right piano note and we praise them, they will play well again next time. Next, behaviorism in music class. Now let's see how we use behaviorism in music teaching. We can see three things ideas at the top. C.T. Miller's and response, referencement and repetition, and below. We have some teaching methods and examples. Number one, step by step. Number two, referencement. Number three, immediate feedback. Number four, repetition. Okay, number one, step by step. The first method is step by step. This means we teach slowly, one small step at a time. In music class, students first learn finger exercise. When they can do that, they move on to simple sounds. So students learn in small, easy steps. Number two, referencement. When students playing something right, we give prize or points. This makes them feel good, and they want to do it right again next time. So rewards help build good habits. Number three, immediate feedback. This means we create mistakes right away. If the rhythm is wrong or the finger is wrong, we fixed it on the stop. Quick feedback help students learn faster. Number 4, repetition. The last math is repetition. Students need daily practice to build string skills. Repeating drills like rhythm clamping makes the skill natural. Repetition is a big part of behaviorism. Closing. So this formats step-by-step teaching, referencement, immediate feedback, and repetition show how behaviorism helps students learn music in a clear and simple way. Next, good points of behaviorism. Behaviorism has many good things. Example, clear steps, clear goals, easy to see learning results. Very good for beginning. Very good for skill training like music. But in behaviorism, there are also many problems, such as it does not look at thinking or feeling. Too much practice can feel boring. Students may depend on rewards, and not good for corrective or deep thinking. So teachers today use behaviorism with other ideas. Finally, let's look at behaviorism in today's teaching. First, behaviorism is not the only learning theory we use now, but for basic skill training, it is still very useful and hard to replace. Also, if we mix behaviorism with connectivism and constructivism, we can make a more complete teaching system. In art, in art education, like music, we often use behaviorism in the beginner stage. It helps students build a strong base so their creativity can grow later. So, in short, behaviorism is still important in modern teaching, especially for learning basic skills. Okay, now we move on to Q&A session. Do you have any question?
Hello, teacher. I have a question. Behaviorism only focuses on observable behaviors. In music class, how can we tell if students truly understand music knowledge like time signatures or models instead of just practicing mechanically?
Okay, good question. It points out a keen limit of behaviorism. To check true understanding, we can give transfer tasks like letting students mark time signatures in unfamiliar music, or use different instruments to show its stress patterns. If they can do this, not just repeat practice, they really get it. We can also ask why to hear their thinking. So they don't just do it, but use it.
Hi, teacher. After listening your class, I want to confirm a question. Is the core idea of behaviorism that learning is of certain behavior change? Does it only focus on our external action and not care about inner thought and feelings?
Okay, you understand is very correct. The core of behaviorism is learning is observable behavior change. This change doesn't come from nowhere. It's influenced by the surrounding environment. Teachers' rewards, small publishments, and repeated practice. It really focuses more on external actions we can use, like whether you can play songs or if the rhythm is right, and doesn't pay much attention to inner thoughts, feelings, or the price of understanding.
Hello, teacher. After listening to the class, I know all reinforcement is used in music class to teach us. Besides price and points, could you give me a specific example of step-by-step teaching, immediate feedback, and repetition you uh, mentioned to help me understand?
Of course, very good question. Step by step teaching starts with the simplest things. For example, first practice basic finger moves, movements on the instrument. When you get good at it, learn single notes, and finally try to play shorter melodies. Immediate feedback is when you play the wrong note or the rhythm is missing. The teacher stops right away, tells you where you went wrong, and shows you the correct way to play, so you can follow along. Repetition is spending a little time doing the same training every day, like clamping rhythm again and again, or playing a simple piece repeatedly, slowly. Your action becomes skills, and you can do it without thinking hard. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Excuse me, we got some problem in our PowerPoint. Please wait a minute. Sorry about that. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Guo Yuefei. Just call me Fei. Today I'm talking about the critical pedagogy. Now let's start to visit our PowerPoint. Okay, the first slide I will talking about what is critical pedagogy. Critical pedagogy is Polo convention at 1970, and the main goal is to create self-transformation and social change. Critical pedagogy is an education theory centered on library film thinking and empowering in the workshop. It in fashion guiding learning to break inherent cognitive frameworks, recognize the connection between the knowledge and social power, and creative independent judgment, and social culture ability through questioning, reflection, learning, and inquiry. As a cultural carry, music lecturer base venue and power relations, making it an important manual for conservation critical thinking. Now I'm talking about the famous people and their views about the critical thinking. The first people is Paulo. Paulo, the core view of Paulo is the banking education and award library laboratory education. Educational possession teaching is a collaborative process of knowledge, construction between teachers and students. For the main goal is it requires the learner created critical awareness, helps them get rid of the practical of passion acceptance and realize self-liberation and social speculation. And Paulo also believed that critical pedagogy can improve student the ability of self-thinking. So as the right side of the PowerPoint, we can see the first picture is Paulo, and the less famous person is Henry. Henry's core views emphasize the serious nature and criticality of education, and he believed that regrets teaching as an important way to create citizen believing that arts education such as music should guide students to reflect on society. Full artisan expression and creative judgment and social concern. Okay, the last picture is Henry. Let's have a visit. The last part I will talking about the two history cultural about the cultural hegemony and the color revolution. First, let's talk about the cultural hegemony. The definition of the cultural hegemony is proposed by Anthony. Cultural hegemony refers to dominant class controlling the production of culture, ideologies, and value. Embrace the subversive classes to consensually accept the cultural norms and order lived by the demanding class, fulfilling a rolling state of manual operation. The signature in the file of music. The consolidation of mentioned Western music globally, schooling the living space of local traditional music. Sometimes it also the imperial Western venue in some musical was as shaped as universal strangers. And the last one is the selection position of devotional musical culture in textbooks and teaching content strengthen a single culture congestion. The last history revolution is the color revolution. The color revolution have another name is the flower revolution. People usually use a special color or flowers as their signature. So the name is the white, it also called the flower revolution. And the definition of the color revolution is a political movement centered on identity, influence the mid-century special venue, through cultural, media, and educational channels to increase social division and intimacy, suppress the incest social order. Often using culture and arts are covered reasons for transmission. The potential risk in the music sector. The first one is Central Foreign music workers are imbued with political methods to dismantle express ideology of special sentiments. The secondary is exploring youth advantages for pop music to impede anti-mainstream and anti-traditional venue. The last one is the promotion of subversive cultural products under the guise of artistic freedom to include national cultural identity. So let's see the picture of this slide. It's a woman holding a flower, and this is why it's called the flower revolution. Okay, let's talk about the last part. How to apply the critical pedagogy in our piano teaching. The main goal of critical pedagogy is to let students think activity rather than learn passively. Before I talking about this slide, please let's see the picture about this slide. The critical reading technology. They totally have a four step about the critical reading. The first step is the preview. Just look at the song or text features. The second step is read the melody, with the note, download or comments. The step 3 is infer. Ask question after every paragraph. If in our piano teachings, students practice a song and they will self-thinking about the song. The step 4 is summarize. Summarize the main idea of each paragraph. Okay, now talk about the piano teachings in this slide. Usually, when the student practice with questions, and we require the student need to practice with questions to break down pieces. Now, we can analyze the logic. Why these pieces use the finger 5 instead of finger 3 here? And would a different finger be smooth? When we are practicing the piano, we should know about the difference about every time we practice. So the next part, I will let the student listening to different performance version, like Li Yundi's pace, like the kissing pace. I think do simple background analysis is good for our practice and also good for the piano teaching. And if the student, after the student knowing about the background of the song, the background of the song history, the background of the time, I think it could be better understanding well the piano song that we practice. Okay, the next important thing is don't blindly follow the teacher requirements. It's also say that we should share our discoveration. This approach transfer piano learning from passive skill training into active thinking exercise. It's not only improve performance, but also foster independent thinking and activity judgment. Because critical pedagogy requires the student after thinking to communicate with the teacher. If the student blindly follow the teacher's requirements, I think the practice resource is not very well sometimes. So I think the students should have the ability of self-thinking and talking, communicate with the teacher. This is how application in piano teaching. Let's talk about the critical pedagogy advantage. There totally have 5 advantages of critical pedagogy. The first one is cultivating higher order thinking skill. The secondary is deepening students' knowledge comprehensions. As I just taught in the last slide, we should know the different background about the song, and this point of advantage is talking about this. And the next one is and develop independent personalities. The fourth one is guiding students to adapt to diversion needs. And the last one is fostering student interaction in learning. We can also see the pictures. There also says step about the advantage. Okay, the last part. Let's talk about the challenge about the critical pedagogy. What actually critical pedagogy will face in the future? I have written 4 points about this challenge. The first one is the teacher must possess a solid foundation in critical pedagogy, cross-cultural perspective, and the ability of discern ideas is basic. Teachers should know may have so much knowledge about the critical or music teaching, music education's foundation. The secondary part is the provision's influence of complementary popular cultures made teaching outcomes supposed to extravagant disruptions. The last part is instruction should balance critical and constructive approach, avoiding excessive discovering that may foster attentions attitudes among students. And the last challenge is students' value cultural backgrounds and cognitive level resource in different degrees of context complexities. In conclusion, the value of critical pedagogy in music education lies in disrupting cultural hegemony, identifying ways of color revolutions, and creating student independent thinking, cultural distressment, and commitment to unholding values. Promote the selection of teaching content, focus on underlying value, drive innovation in teaching method, guide students to engage with social relatives and personal experience. Advance education equity and prevent education inclusion stemming from the hegemony of mainstream culture. Its essence is not competition and empowerment, all while empowering culture, confidence, and bottom line thinking. Music education should survive as a culture security barrier. Through critical pedagogy, music can truly become a force for preserving culture, building consensus, and nurturing the soil, rather than a tool for identity influence. This is the whole PowerPoint about I'm talking the critical pedagogy. Is everybody have any questions here?
Yes. Why did you choose to include information about the flower revolution in this PowerPoint?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, Critiquing the humiliations of traditional education called learning in physics education as a political form. Revealing how idea disrupts social life and driving social reflection. The flower power movement was a signature chapter in Western history, playing a major role in fostering student independent thinking. So that's why we want to learn these critical pedagogies. And this is my answer about these questions. Thank you for listening my PowerPoint.